ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
From the vaccine hesitant to virus deniers, COVID cases are on the rise. The disturbing trend local doctors are seeing in some patients.
Plus, a guilty verdict handed down in the death of a Southern California Navy medic. Why the victim's family is outraged.
And why the city of San Diego overpaid a contractor more than $1 million for portable showers to be used by the homeless.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
Hundreds of people in National City are out of their homes right now while the bomb squad continues to search for signs of explosives. Good evening. I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Kimberly Hunt. This is breaking news that we've been following all afternoon. One man is in custody. ABC 10 News reporter Leah Pizzetti is joining us again. And this all started when the man said that he had a bomb and flammable liquids inside. Leah?
Right. Yeah, a lot has been going on today. I'm standing in front of the community where all of this is happening right now. Multiple fire, police, arson, hazmat agencies are inside this complex right now investigating possible explosives and hazardous materials. Take a look. You can see they just all pulled inside right now. It all started, like you said, when a man who lives here said he had a bomb and flammable liquids inside. He tried to run away, but police were able to catch him. Now they're investigating possible explosives here right now. Take a listen to what it sounded like out here just a few hours ago. Now that boom is the sound of authorities detonating his backpack, which they thought might have explosives. That has been cleared, but we're told there is still concern right now about possible explosives or hazardous materials inside his car and inside his apartment. It's these concerns that led to 400 people being evacuated from this building here. One neighbor we spoke with says they're worried knowing what's happening inside right now as we speak.
Does make it a little bit scary considering we are right next to the place that a bomb might have been left. So yeah, that is a little bit scarier. We just know to keep our distance now.
Keeping distance, of course, is important right now as they continue to work to figure out if there are dangerous materials inside. Now, the suspect was not cooperative, so they did use police dogs to catch him. He is now being treated for dog bites in an area hospital. The focus right now is clearing the car and the apartment. Police say they do believe that this person, this man, the suspect, is capable of making a bomb. So they are taking every precaution. Like I just said, they've already cleared his backpack. Now the focus is on clearing his car and his apartment. We, of course, will continue to bring you the very latest as we know more. Reporting live in National City, Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
A serious situation being taken very seriously. Thank you, Leah. Now to the latest on coronavirus concerns as case numbers and hospitalizations begin spiking once again. Hospitalizations have gone up a third in just the last week. Florida is a major hotspot once again, with cases up nearly 500% in the last month. The Delta variant is responsible for most of the cases.
It is one of the most infectious respiratory viruses we know of and that I have seen in my 20-year career.
Officials are also keeping an eye on so-called breakthrough infections. Those are cases in people who are fully vaccinated. It's only a tiny fraction of the total cases, but they are happening. And today, a CDC panel met to talk about booster shots. They say boosters may offer additional protection to people with underlying conditions. However, they are still not considered necessary. And unsettling stories of misinformation coming from COVID patients at a local hospital's ICU unit. As ABC 10 News reporter Michael Chen found out, Kaiser Permanente says some of those cases involve patients who refuse to believe they have COVID.
Inside the ICU at two Kaiser Permanente hospitals, fueled by the Delta variant, cases of COVID in the past month have been on the rise, mirroring county trends, including a doubling of hospitalizations in the past week. And just like across the county, the unvaccinated and partially vaccinated are most at risk. Dr. William Sang heads the local COVID vaccine program for Kaiser Permanente.
We're not seeing people who are fully vaccinated ending up in the hospital or being in the intensive care unit.
When it comes to those being hospitalized, Dr. Sang believes there's a fairly even breakdown between those who say they don't have enough information, those who are opposed to vaccines.
Doesn't matter what happens, doesn't matter what you say, they just don't want it.
And those who are hesitant.
I know there's enough information out there, I just didn't didn't do it. Still hear the question about, is there a microchip in there? I still hear about the infertility question.
Dr. Sang says whatever the reason for not getting vaccinated, most are remorseful.
As they're getting well, like when can I get the vaccine, or where should I get the vaccine?
For others, the regret isn't there because they don't believe in COVID, even when they're shown test results.
There's a segment of population who are hospitalized who still do not believe that this is COVID.
Dr. Sang declined to give numbers, but says that segment isn't a large number. Across the globe, there are reports of COVID deniers who still maintain the virus is a hoax.
That's concerning to me. In order to really defeat this pandemic, we need to understand and we need to trust the science.
Michael Chen, ABC 10 News.
And here are the latest numbers on coronavirus in San Diego County. More than 700 new cases were reported today, and there was one new death reported as well. San Diego County is seeing a spike in new COVID cases, so much so that if California still used the tier system, we would be in the second most restrictive tier. We're taking an in-depth look at those numbers. Yesterday, the county reported 82% more cases in the past week than the previous week. The county's case rate is 7.6 cases per 100,000 residents. Dr. Ghazala Sharif from Scripps Health says there's also a rise in hospitalizations.
Like if you look at when we opened up the state on June 15th, at that time we had 13 patients. That was our low, 13 patients in-house, and today we're up to 64, and that trajectory is climbing.
It is climbing, and the state still has, if it still had the tier system, we would be in the red tier right now, which at the time meant closed bars and limited capacity at restaurants, gyms, and other indoor facilities. If the state had not reached 2 million vaccinations, San Diego would have been in the even more restrictive purple tier because the state created a trigger to loosen the tier system based on vaccinations. That, of course, is all a hypothetical. But what's real is the county's case rate is rising once again, as she just mentioned. Before the tier system ended, we had a case rate of 1.2 on June 8th. On June 22nd, it was 1.6. On July 6th, that is, it rose to 2.5, and now it has skyrocketed. Look at that, 7.6. Dr. Sharif says wearing a mask in certain settings may make a difference.
I'm not sure going back to the tiers, which was so complicated, is the right answer. I just think we need to exert a little bit more of a practical approach to all of this than that. But I do think masks are the way to go, especially if you're indoors.
The county says it will follow the state's guidelines when it comes to mask mandates. And you can keep up with any new developments surrounding the pandemic by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
In just the last hour, a helicopter crew managed to rescue a horse stranded down a ravine in Carmel Valley. Sky 10 was there at the exact moment the team hoisted that horse into the air. Look at that, quite a ride, until they could set the horse down in a flat area nearby. Kind of a tough landing. We're hoping the horse is okay. We look like it is there. The horse took off running. It was attended by the Humane Society people on hand as well as fire crews. And the emergency call came in about 12:30. A woman and the horse got stuck near the 56 and Carmel Valley Road. People were able to bring water, but the horse could not get out until that helicopter arrived. Fortunately, we are told the woman was not hurt. We think the horse is okay as well. It did walk out. It is being attended to right now.
There are new developments surrounding the death of a Southern California Navy medic. A guilty verdict was handed down for another medic who was tried in the case. But the victim's family is outraged, and they told our ABC 10 News investigative reporter Jennifer Kastner the punishment does not fit the crime and it's unacceptable.
I spoke to the parents of the deceased corpsman, which is a type of medic and a sailor for the Navy. They said today that the sentence is far too light and they are simply stunned. A guilty verdict for the most senior ranking of 5 Navy corpsmen who've been connected to the shooting death of fellow corpsman Michael Vincent de Leon. ABC 10 News' cameras have not been allowed into any previous court hearings to capture video of HM1 Ryan Dinney, whose trial on base at Camp Pendleton ended this week with Dinney being found guilty of dereliction of duty resulting in death for failing to prevent junior sailors from handling firearms, dereliction of duty for failing to enforce the weapon safety rules, and dereliction of duty for handing a firearm to a junior sailor who was under the influence of alcohol.
I am devastated. I am devastated at the outcome of this trial.
De Leon's father, J.D., ran out of the courtroom Wednesday to call ABC 10 News. He was livid at the sentence.
It's like, what the hell is going on here? This is not justice. This is a joke.
The base confirmed that Ryan Denny was handed down a sentence of 100 days in the brig and a reduction in rank from E6 to E5, which results in a drop in his pay.
There is no justice. They find him guilty of dereliction of duty, causing death of our son, but yet give him 100 days. This is what's wrong with our military.
The De Leon family said that their son captured this Snapchat video before he was shot during a party with other corpsmen at a house on the 29 Palms base located northeast of San Diego. The prosecution has said that the corpsmen were drinking and dry-firing guns before a fatal round was fired. The De Leon family alleged a cover-up after ABC 10 News confirmed through sources with close military ties that their son's death was being investigated as a homicide, not a suicide like they said they were first led to believe. Before Ryan Denny's guilty verdict this week, a second corpsman, Mason Williams, was found guilty in June of dereliction of duty and disorderly conduct. A third and fourth corpsman have been charged. A remaining fifth corpsman faces charges, but his hearing date has not been set. Jennifer Kastner, ABC 10 News.
A homeless man's death in Barrio Logan is under investigation. San Diego police say they received a report after 3 o'clock this morning of a man down on the sidewalk in the 1700 block of National Avenue. When officers arrived, they found a man with trauma to his upper body. He was taken to the hospital but died, and police are now looking for witnesses and possible surveillance video in the area.
The city overpaid a contractor nearly $1.2 million for portable showers at its convention center homeless shelter during the pandemic. ABC 10 News reporter John Horn has the new audit that tells the city to get the money back.
When the pandemic hit, the city moved hundreds of homeless people into a new shelter here at the convention center. It was in need of those portable showers that come in those trailers that look like semi-trucks. And to get them here, the city was willing to pay up.
If I would have known how much it cost to provide porta potties and showers, I would have bought the trailers and outhouses myself.
But Alpha Project CEO Bob McElroy didn't know just how much the city was paying for those portable shower trailers at the convention center, which took in residents from Alpha Project's bridge shelters starting in April 2020.
COVID was expanding rapidly, so actually creating a small city in a matter of a few weeks was a Herculean effort.
The city had an existing contract to rent the shower trailers from a vendor for $20,000 a month. But a new audit says when it ordered more for the convention center, the vendor, which it doesn't name, more than doubled the price to $44,800 a month. The city didn't challenge it and overpaid $1.18 million to rent 6 of them for the shelter, which closed in March.
And I would hate to think that anybody would take advantage of that. If they did, there needs to be a consequence to that.
The audit recommends the city explore its options on getting the money back. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
In a statement, the city says shower units were in especially high demand at the beginning of the pandemic, one of several factors that led to higher prices. It notes, however, that it is examining the transaction and agrees with the auditor to explore whether it can get some of that money back.
It is going to cost more to attend a UC school. Today, the University of California Regents approved a multi-year plan to raise tuition and fees at the system's 10 campuses by 2%. Plus inflation for new undergraduates. The amount would stay flat for those students for up to 6 years. University officials say the increase is needed to maintain the quality of the public university system and provide more financial aid to students.